And we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome to our Hawkeye Season 1 spoiler review. Of course, the series regulars are here as always, myself, Dan, and of course, Hoss over there on the right. So, well done us. I'd like to start off by saying, go team. We are here for the second week in a row, doing another stream. This is the most consistent I think we've ever been. So, if you want to give us all congratulations in the comments, that'd be greatly appreciated. Because this is an unprecedented event. Seeing an episode of whatever the show's called for 2 weeks in a row, it's pretty impressive stuff. But following on from our episode last week where we did our spoiler discussion on Spider-Man No Way Home, we're now also going to be doing our spoiler talk for Hawkeye, which is of course the latest Marvel Disney Plus show to hit the air or the streams. And this is one that I certainly was highly anticipating. Out of all of the Marvel Disney Plus shows that were announced so far, this was my most anticipated. Always was. And now we've seen all 6 episodes. I'm just going to go out and say it straight away. This is easily, well, I wouldn't say like easily, but it is, I can confidently say that it is my favorite of the Marvel Disney Plus shows so far. And I've actually done my ranking for the MCU, including Hawkeye. Would anybody like to take a guess as to where Hawkeye landed on my MCU ranking?
What, like the whole thing?
Oh, the whole thing.
Including films?
Including films.
I'm going to reckon top 5. He's put it in top 5 easy. He's put it in top 5. Because he's a fanboy, you got to think. He loves him.
I'm going to say top 10. But your ranking is very weird for the MCU.
Yeah.
Well, currently, could change, but currently it is sat at number 2.
That's high, damn.
Number 2.
So on No Way Home and then Hawkeye.
Yep.
Nice.
A good week for the MCU for me. A good week.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're all going to dive into details as to why I loved it, but I mean, just to kind of set the scene. I mean, for me, I've always loved Hawkeye as a character. I always have. I've always had a fascination with archers ever since I was young, which is why I've always gravitated towards Hawkeye and obviously to Green Arrow. Arrow, obviously my favorite show of all times, and this is essentially Marvel's version of Arrow, really. And on top of that, you have Haley Steinfeld in the lead role of Kate Bishop, who I also absolutely adore. So all of those elements together, I knew going into the show, based on all that this was going to be my favorite. I just knew. And then as we actually started watching the show, it just got better and better. And when we got those little teases, those little hints towards a certain big man coming into the show, very large man, that was just the icing on the cake for me. And that's when it just was cemented as, this is one of the best things the MCU has ever done for me, straight up. I adore Hawkeye. I think the show's amazing. And I will definitely be rewatching it. I love it. I can't wait to see what they do in the future with this. I don't know if we're going to get a season 2 or if it's just going to continue on sort of in the films or whatever, but even if we do just get these 6 episodes, I loved it. But what are your guys' general thoughts?
So literally at the end of Black Widow, where you get that the credit scene, the graveyard, and it's when Elena like sees Hawkeye. I was immediately just like, this show's gonna be like awesome, because like I think Elena Belova is like one of the best characters in the MCU at the moment. So when I was like, she's going to be in it, I'm like, this show's just going to be so good. And then we sort of had no idea going into it that they were ever thinking of putting like Kingpin into it. So when that sort of got teased more, I was like, oh, okay, wow, like we're getting Daredevil back. And this whole show's just been so good. Like Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop is just amazing. Like go Stan Kate Bishop. Like Stan Kate Bishop and Elena Belova. That's my message. Yep.
That friendship was great. And I mean, as another like icing on the cake for me is Florence Pugh as well.
Exactly.
Who I love.
I want a buddy cop, Kate Bishop and Elena Belova film. That's like what I need now. If we don't get another series of Hawkeye, that's what I want.
Yeah. I'd say I was probably similar. I really enjoyed this. I didn't have the same hype as probably you guys going in, but that's only just because like I've always enjoyed Hawkeye as a character, but I've never been like as into him to the point where I went into the show. I was like, I can't wait. I'm gonna love this. And I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, but I wasn't like completely blown away. It was probably pretty much from episode 3 onwards. From there onwards, I felt the season was great. I really didn't have that many issues. Like the main stuff I had with the first 2 episodes was I thought some of the editing with the action sequences was a bit off for me personally. That was like the main gripe I had with it. But then after episode 3, I think the whole season is pretty much great from that point onwards. Like you say, just how they build throughout with the whole Kingpin reveal, I thought was brilliant. I really enjoyed what they did with Clint and how they really made him into this full-rounded character with a really good arc come by the end of the season. Of course, Stan Kate Bishop because Haley Steinfeld, Stan Elena because Florence Pugh. Just honestly, there's too much standing going on in this show for me to be able to contain. By the end of it, I was just like, I can't contain the standing. It's getting too much. But like that is only a good thing. And it's just just again, I also really like the tone of this as well because I had this feeling that it was going to be quite dark and serious. But I like the fact that the show also kind of had a bit of a lightheartedness to it. Like, as we're probably going to mention in the finale, the bit where they have the Pym arrow turning the truck into the miniature and then the owl just flies off with it. That probably might have got the biggest chuckle out of me the whole season. But just stuff like that. And just altogether, I think this is just, it's such a good show and it's such a rewatchable show as well. I could definitely see myself like rewatching this. But yeah, I'd say out of all the Marvel MCU shows that we've had so far, I think this is probably the best. Of course, not including Daredevil, considering that is pretty much now part of the MCU. If you were going to include that, that is number 1, no question. Yeah, true. But like official stuff, Hawkeye for me, no question. This is the best one.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the same for me. It's the best show out of all the MCU ones we've got. Yeah. It's so fun. So fun.
Yeah, I like what you said about the tone. Like, I was quite surprised as well because it's got quite a nice blend of, it has got some darker stuff in it, especially when it kind of explores Clint's past and with the Ronin stuff. Which, to be fair, that was something I didn't really think about going into the show, but yeah, it does make sense. This does actually explore kind of the Ronin stuff and kind of what he got up to as Ronin in that time between Infinity War and Endgame, which I thought was quite interesting. So you have the darker stuff there, but then you also have like the lighter hearted stuff with particularly the Christmas side of it. Like, this does feel very, very Christmassy. And as someone who doesn't particularly care for like Christmas films, even I was like getting on board with this. I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this kind of feeling that it's giving. You know, there's a lot of moments in the show where the score is actually like actual Christmas music and they've kind of tweaked it. Like they did it in the finale. I think they also did it in episode 2. They did it as well. And yeah, I just think the show got like progressively more exciting, more interesting. I definitely think episode 3 was where it really kicked off. For me personally, like episode 3, I'd probably say is my favorite episode of the season. I think, just because I think episode 3 completely like nailed it. I mean, episode 5 was really good as well and really exciting, and was definitely the most hyped I got out of an episode for obvious reasons. But I think episode 3 was like the episode where I was officially like, yeah, I'm in love with the show. So yeah, I think so. I just think as a whole package, Hawkeye is just so much fun. And again, it honestly feels quite personal to me, the show. And I think that's why I ranked it so high. It's because I've always had Spider-Man Homecoming very high on my list for a similar reason. It's always felt very personal to me. And Hawkeye gave me that same feeling. So I just adore it. So I think the best way to kind of start and dive into this is by talking about the characters and the performances that we got throughout this. Obviously, we have Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, Hawkeye. And I definitely think this is Jeremy Renner's best performance in the MCU as Hawkeye. This is definitely the best kind of appearance we've had from Hawkeye. Obviously, we did get some strong stuff in Endgame, but obviously he isn't like a central focus there. This really delves into, again, that darker side of Clint, but also showing his like more loving family fatherly side, which we got a little bit of in Age of Ultron, but not, again, massively focused on because he's not like the main character. Here, they really delve into it, and I actually really grew to like Clint's family. And kind of, I got quite invested in him, you know, getting home for Christmas and wanting to be there with his kids and stuff. It was just nice. It was heartwarming. And I think Jeremy Renner just really did a great job here. And I definitely think, like I say, this is the best version of the character we got in the MCU so far.
Yeah, they definitely like yeah, it gave us just many more details about Hawkeye rather than him just being like the guy in the Avengers that has the bow. Like that's it. Like there was definitely a lot more, and yeah, I really enjoyed like finding out more about that, and yeah, like with his family as well. His just murder-loving wife who just doesn't care that he turned into an assassin for like 5 years. It's just like, yeah, you murdered everyone. I'm so proud of you, honey. Like,
that is true love right there.
Yeah, I kind of wish with that possibly she didn't know he was Ronin, and she was going to find out that he was Ronin, and what he did like whilst she was blipped. So we could have got something like there where she eventually would have accepted it because he was like, well, yeah, you disappeared. Like I had no one left type thing. So yeah, that was a bit weird how she was just kind of like, oh, yep, no worries. Yeah, that was weird. But like, yeah, it's definitely Renner's best performance, and I 100% want like a season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I really like the stuff that they did with Hawkeye this season and his family, because again, it was one of those things that we got glimpses of in Age of Ultron and Endgame. You saw a little glimpse of him and his family, the dynamic there. But I think with the show, I think he did a really good job of just expanding him and just humanizing him even more as a character. And my favorite stuff by far was the whole stuff that they explore with Ronin, like what he did as the Ronin, like the effects that that's had on characters in this season, because that was one of the things that I really loved from Endgame, was just that one scene where you saw him as Ronin just slaying all those guys. But like you go into this, it's like you see kind of the repercussions of the effects that's had because of it and how they're coming back to haunt him. I thought that stuff was like really, really good. Not just as a threat, but like you say, just to kind of develop Clint more as a character. Kind of delving into that was probably one of my favorite bits of the season, just because it was so cool to see. And just any action that I saw with him, just with that badass katana, I'm just like, yes, give me more of that.
Yeah. Can we also say as well, like, about the representation in like the show, and like how him being deaf was like so well done.
Yeah.
Like when he has the call with his son and he can't hear his son because his hearing aid was like broken. Yeah, honestly, that was so like heartbreaking, and Kate had to like write it down on the notepad.
Haley plays that so well as well.
Because he thinks he's talking, doesn't he? He thinks he's talking to his wife or something, doesn't he? And then it turns out it's his son, and he's like,
yeah.
Kate tells him, yeah. And I just think like that whole thing was really well done with like him, like obviously that being like deaf now because of just all of the like. All of his missions have sort of now come back to not afford him, but like it's taken its toll on poor old Clint Barton.
Yeah, I like that because it was kind of like I was expecting going into this, because I think we knew kind of going into this that he was gonna they were gonna bring in the deaf angle, because I think in the set photos we saw him with like the hearing aid.
Yeah.
And I thought in this we were gonna get like an event that's gonna like cause it, but what I quite like is I like how they kind of just explain it like, oh yeah, it's just over the years, like I've been involved in so many explosions. It's just like, it's just gone now. So I quite like that side of it. And again, it does, I mean, Clint has always kind of been obviously like a bit of the butt of the joke of the Avengers, which is always griped me for years. He deserves more respect than that. As a fellow archer, I would like to say that. But he
wannabe archer.
Shut up. No, I mean, to be fair, Hawkeye and also Green Arrow are part of the reasons why I do archery. But it's he's always been the butt of the joke because obviously he doesn't have powers. But I like the fact that in this, obviously, you see like a real kind of human effect. Because I mean, it's one thing to see a character get stabbed or get shot or whatever, but to have like this like long lasting kind of damage that's been done from him going on all these missions. I just thought it did a really good job of like humanizing him in a different way. And just showing that he doesn't have powers, he isn't Thor, he isn't Captain America, like he's just a guy, and now he has like this basically irreparable kind of problem, and he has to and we have to see him kind of live with that and adapt with that, and I think that was just really interesting.
And like even though he's just a guy, like he still inspired Kate to like become an archer, so there's just so much more like to him. And I should have put my name on this as Hawkeye. Like I love that scene where she was like, "They should have called you Hawkeye," and he's just like, "Block, delete." Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, I think one of my favorite scenes of this show, which was in episode 6, is actually the scene where Kate talks to Clint and talks about how he inspired her. Seeing him on that building during the events of the first Avengers movie and him doing all the jumps and whatnot. And like you kind of see Clint like almost tear up in that, and it genuinely got me because it was like this thing where I think Clint, even if we don't get, obviously this is always a thing on the internet, but kind of in the movies, I think we haven't really seen it as much, which is about Clint being the butt of the joke of the Avengers. Like he isn't, he is just a guy with a bow and arrow. But him like hearing from another person, like, yeah, you're like my favorite Avenger. You're the one who inspired me to be a hero. And you can tell it actually affected him. And it kind of got me. I was like, oh, that's adorable. And again, I think Haley played it so well. So yeah, I think Jeremy Renner, like, I don't think this is the last time we're going to see Hawkeye. I hope not. But even if this was his swan song, what a way to go out with this character. And definitely the best version we've had of him so far.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's just talk about her, the queen, the love of my life, Haley Steinfeld. Of course. As Kate Bishop, or as Elena Bullova would say, Kid Bishop. That's
actually a decent impression for once.
I'm always good at impressions. I tell you this. I'm always good.
No, that's your only good impression.
What was the one I literally did a few minutes ago? Was that before we started recording? I don't remember. What was I doing before? It's gone. It'll come back to me in a minute. Anyway, I appreciate it. I'll take it. But Haley Steinfeld, like I say, going into this, I was so excited to see her. I adore her. And like I say, probably the love of my life. So the fact that she was like playing Kate Bishop, I was so excited, ecstatic. Just the fact she's going to be in the MCU in general. And playing an archer. And yeah, she was just phenomenal in this. Like all of her moments, her development throughout it, her performance throughout, the way it changed, her character stories. And again, I love the fact that she was like this character who was very self kind of proficient. Like she's very kind of adept when we meet her, but she's also not flawless. She's still rough around the edges as a hero. And I like the fact that she kind of walks between two worlds in a way. Like you have her, like her family, like she grew up very rich. And she kind of has, and now as she's kind of growing into a hero, she's kind of seeing the other side of it. And I love the line that Vera Farmiga has in this, where she says, you've always grown up in the rich world. I had to come from the poor, sort of rags to riches. You never have. And I really like that. I like that aspect of the character. And I think that Haley just knocked it out of the park week after week after week with these episodes. Delivered on the action, delivered on the comedic side, delivered on the dramatic side. Just absolutely everything she did with this character I thought was pitch perfect. And this is a big character to introduce into the MCU at this point. I just know she's going to have a big future going forward. So long as she doesn't do anything like Letitia Wright, we should be good. I think she's going to have a big
shots fired.
Idiot.
Idiot.
Shots fired, but she's not getting her shot.
I don't want to get political on this podcast. But I think that
too far, mate. You've gone back down now. You've gone too far, man.
I'm clipping this and tagging it.
Go ahead. I'm ready for an argument tonight. I think obviously in the future we're going to be seeing things like Young Avengers, hopefully, and she will probably be the leader of all that. So yeah, Haley Steinfeld, just perfect in every conceivable way.
Yeah, she's literally like,
and you can tell I'm in love with her. Yes, I know.
You might as well have a picture of her in your background, Dak. Where is the picture of Haley Steinfeld in your background?
Oh, that's in another room.
So in the Spider-Man talk where you said about masturbating to Daredevil, do you masturbate to Hawkeye as well?
Oh yeah. Is that not evident? I put it in number fucking 2.
True. Yeah, true.
There's a lot of stuff in the MCU, so to get to number 2, that's impressive.
Yeah. But yeah, Haley is literally just cut from like the comics. Like whenever you see just like pictures of Kate Bishop in the comic, it's literally just Haley, and I just love that some of the scenes where they had her like wearing t-shirts that were in like the comic, and it's literally just Haley. It's so good. And I saw an interview like a while back. I think it might be on Graham Norton, where he was like, "Did you know that like you were the only person that Kevin Feige even had like in his head who was going to play Kate Bishop. Like when they said, "Oh, we're going to get Kate Bishop," he was like, "Oh, we could get an actress and like Haley Steinfeld," and they were just like, "Yeah, that's it." Called her up and like said, "We do it," and they didn't have like anyone else. There was like no sort of casting process. I don't think it was literally just, "We want Haley Steinfeld, and we'll chuck all the money at her, or just kidnap her and make her be in this show." She's got no chance. Like she can't back out. That's it. Once Feige wants you in the MCU, like he's gonna get you.
I think what Feige does, he takes his cap off and he like flings it at an actor, and then it lands on them, and then it just like captures them, and that's it. And
it's basically just a cat version of Doctor Strange's cape. That's what it is.
Yeah. Or so if you ever played Super Mario Odyssey, and he kind of like just flings the hat, it's like that. It's like that. Because everyone wonders why he wears a hat all the time. It's because it's got powers. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Haley, I love her.
So,
I mean, yeah. I can't really add anything more because I think you can clearly tell all three of us are in love with Haley Steinfeld, and I think she's I think the thing is just like
I might have to watch Bumblebee now.
How have you not seen Bumblebee yet? It's
I don't trigger. You've said the wrong word. You triggered him now. You sent him off the deep end. You sent him off the deep end.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Hang on. You said
Transformers: Dark and Moon is best movie ever made.
He says it's so good. He ranked. I remember one time he ranked it at the bottom of his Transformers ranking.
It still is.
And yet
the
he
bottom
still
of my
says
Transformers
it's
ranking.
so good. Pardon?
And it's
It
got
still is
John
the bottom of my
Cena
Transformers
and
ranking.
Haley Steinfeld in it.
And he puts it at the bottom. His logic confuses me.
I haven't even seen it, and
hang on.
Just
with my Transformers ranking, I will allow you to question that one. But all I will say is that I grew up with the Transformers Michael Bay films, and I adore them. That's all. I have no defense other than that.
I bet when he was sat there watching No Way Home, he didn't want. When he was sat there watching No Way Home, he didn't want it to be Andrew Garfield Spider-Man that kicked the lizard. He wanted it to be Optimus Prime kicking the lizard instead.
I would have cried. I would have cried.
He was sat there waiting.
Do you know what I want? Right? Because what they should do is, similarly to something like No Way Home or Endgame, we should let Michael Bay do one more Transformers movie, Transformers 6, right? One more, because they set up one more at the end of Transformers 5, and they're going to do Unicron, and you can't do bigger than Unicron in the Transformers universe. So that's the biggest threat they can do. So Transformers 6, and you bring everyone back. Bring Shia back. Bring Megan Fox back. Bring Rosie back.
Title of this video, by the way, is it Transformers?
Yes, that's what it is. And also just bring Haley Steinfeld in. She's not in the franchise. Oh, well, actually, she is in the franchise, so bring her back. Bring John Cena back, John Turturro, and it's literally the Avengers of Transformers. Anyway, what we're talking about, Hawkeye.
Anyway, back to what I was saying about Haley Steinfeld. She's great in this. I think just like looks wise, comics to the big screen nailed completely. I really like the character arc they took her on. I really like how she brought out a different side in Clint that we hadn't really seen before, and kind of their dynamic, how they go from he's kind of first thinking like, why does she idolize me? And he kind of sees her as a bit of a nuisance, and then they form this real partnership. And then I just thought that all of that was great, and she was easily my favorite character of the whole show. Like I say, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with her in the future, because as you say, Deck, I think she's definitely one where, because of it being a star as big as Haley Steinfeld in the role, you know they're going to do big stuff with her, and you know they're going to bring her back for multiple big projects. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we get. If we can get Kate and Elena in their own spin-off show, I would happily watch it. I would actually go ahead and buy Disney Plus just to watch that show. So if Disney is listening, I will actually buy your service if you do actually make that show happen. So please,
Disney,
I'll sell my soul to Kevin Feige.
I will sell my soul to Kevin Feige and his magical cap.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's all. His cap just captures souls.
It's like that sword. What's it? Katana's sword in like Suicide Squad. It's just all in his hand.
Yeah, he used it to capture all the leakers and John Campier when they leaked No Way Home spoilers. As soon as you put them photos out, Kevin Feige with his hat, he's just like.
It's like Odd Job's hat from James Bond. He just threw it out and said, John Campier's no more.
That's why we've not heard from him much since. He's still recovering, bro. He's recovering from the mini.
He's just sat there in the corner with his cap, crying over it like Katana in Suicide Squad, but it's just got Edward Norton's soul in it.
Soon to be Letitia Wright as well.
Yeah. And Terrence Howard's got a little spot in it somewhere as well. But another cast member I'd like to talk about, who I actually think was a little underserved in this, I think she probably should have got a little bit more, was Vera Farmiga as her mother, Elena Bishop. Because Vera Farmiga is such a cool actress. She's great, and she's good in this, but she's not in it enough. And I think we need a season 2 of the show for her specifically. I think that she has a much larger path to walk, especially if you kind of know her character in the comics as Madame Mask. I think there's clearly something they can do there. So I think that is what we should do for a season 2, or even if they were to do like Young Avengers, I could actually see her character kind of growing up in this kind of empire, like growing her own criminal empire within New York, which then could be taken on. Because I think she's great in this. I love her performance when she is there. Like I said, I just don't think like there's a good amount of her, but I don't think there's enough to really cement her as like this really epic character, which I think she could be. And especially if you're getting an actress of Vera Farmiga's stature to play this character, and you're kind of underserve her in that way, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And then we also had like we had Tony Dalton, and I as Jack Duquesne, and I thought that this character was incredible because he's literally like, because I think everyone instantly was like villain.
But everyone who's ever watched Better Call Saul was just like, yeah, he is the bad guy of the season.
But it's one of them things where I think people are quite split down the middle of either he's a villain or he's not. And I was very much of the opinion, I was like, from instantly, I mean, I'll admit when he first showed up, I thought villain, but after a couple episodes, I was like, that mustache is too comically big to be a villain. Because like you have a point where like the mustache is so long and it's really over the top and absurd, and you think, oh yeah, that's a mustache twirling villain. But his mustache was so absurdly big that it was twirling itself. And I was like, there's no way, this is too obvious. There's no way he's a villain because you can't make a mustache like stupidly big.
Who wins in like a stash off between
Don't mention Sully on this. Don't mention him on this podcast.
I wasn't even going to say Sully. I was going to say
no competition with beers.
I was going to say the Sonic villain.
Eggman.
Yeah,
Jim
Eggman
Carrey
and him. Yeah. And
honestly,
let's make it a triple threat versus Sully. Mark Wahlberg.
Well, Sully didn't even make it into the room, first of all.
No.
And then I don't know. To be honest, the guy who plays Jack Duquesne, like Tony Dalton, not bad casting for Eggman. not a bad choice for Eggman with that mustache. But I liked his character too. Like he was really funny. He was really entertaining. And obviously, I really like what they do with him in the final episode. Like him actually getting into the action with the sword, like living up to his comic stature of the swordsman. Yeah, with the larpers, like pretty cool. So yeah, I enjoyed his character too. Did you think he was a villain, or were you like me and you were sort of like, nah, it's too obvious?
Yeah, sort of the first couple of episodes, I thought, yeah, he was. But then I just felt like, yeah, he did have this sort of weird comic-y side to him where I just thought, yeah, something's going to change. Like, he's not the big bad. Didn't think it was going to be Kate Bishop's mum, to be fair. Like, I don't really know much about who Madame Mask is. Is that what you said? I have to
Madame Mask, yeah.
Yeah, I had to look into her. But, yeah, and I didn't know much about Swordmaster as well. And I thought, yeah, I didn't think he was going to be the sort of big bad, really. I thought the big bad was going to be like Echo. But obviously it wasn't Echo. It was a big, bald bloke in a swanky suit with a cane and a Hawaiian shirt.
Big large man. Honestly, his hat in this rivals Kevin Feige's. Like
it does.
That's a proper like he can. Yeah,
that is an odd job hat right there.
You can imagine he gets the hat like this, and he'll punch you through the hat. Like
you can imagine that the hat is
it just beats you the shit.
Yeah. I think the hat weighs the same amount as him.
Yeah. I honestly think the hat will become his new version of the Cardor from Daredevil season 1. Murder by Cardor, murder by hat, bro. That's what it's gonna be.
Exactly, yeah. Have you heard Vincent D'Onofrio's like real voice? He's so soft speaking.
Yes.
It's weird.
And in his I heard it the other day when he did the like little video for Hawkeye. And yeah, it's so weird, but his Kingpin voice is like, I don't know how he does it, It's just amazing. That man, like, let's bow down to him as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's just amazing. Pete Vincent. Yeah.
I'm just bowing down to everyone in this whole show.
We might as well. We might as well, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vera Farmiga. Tony Dalton's mustache.
Lucky the dog. Lucky the pizza dog. Let's
Lucky
talk about
the dog.
Lucky. Let's talk about Lucky.
I actually didn't put Lucky down on the notes. So there you
How
go.
dare you?
Dare
It's
you.
slander towards dogs.
Wow.
I mean,
Probably
he's
like
not much of a
don't
character, is he?
Yeah.
Really?
But is he
Not
not
much
the
of a-
greatest mammal in any Marvel TV show?
I mean, he's adorable.
exactly.
So
See,
cute.
Lucky or Anthony?
Lucky. Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah, Lucky.
Dogs,
I mean,
dogs beat ants.
yeah. He just loves pizza as well. So I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, Lucky
relatable.
the dog. Yeah. Let's get a Lucky the dog spin-off. If they can
I'll do
do
that.
like a show about crypto, they can do a show.
Yeah,
about
if we can
Lucky
get a
the
DC Super Pets movie, we can get a crypto show. Or a Lucky show.
dog. Or Lucky show, yeah.
We can get a Lucky show.
Lucky, Anthony, the random owl that was in the tree, he can do it. And then I can't think of any other sort of adventure.
That's what they've been setting up in Phase 4. It's been building this entire time.
And then you can get like Frog 4 as well. It'd be great.
Yeah, it's
you
good.
just have animal
Alligator
adventures.
Loki.
Yeah, true. Yep.
So
There
it's all
actually was.
happening.
I think there is.
Kevin
an animal.
Feige's been planting it. This is all part of the plan.
It's all in that hat.
Yeah.
It's just a hat
Yeah.
full of ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, another character I'd like to talk about, we did just kind of mention her. Someone else who I've also kind of fallen in love with is Alaqua Cox as Echo. This character was really cool. And I kind of enjoyed how they kind of had her on parallel with Clint. With the deaf angle, like this character is completely deaf, similarly to the actress, who's also an amputee as well.
Yeah.
And they also brought that into the character as well. And yeah, this character as well was really, really awesome. She is sort of this enforcer kind of, I guess you would call her kind of a mercenary within this group. She's kind of the best fighter among them. And she is working for, as we later find out, the Kingpin, and this is his adopted daughter, which is the same in the comics. And she's great. She's absolutely wonderful. I enjoy all of her performance throughout this. I like particularly in episode 3 when we kind of get to see her development from like a child into the Echo we see in the present day. And I really like the way she fights too. Like she's really, I don't know how much of this is Alaqua Cox and how much, because this is actually her first ever acting role. This is the first thing she's ever been in. So
That's a big gig.
yeah, and I think she does a really good job with it, considering.
Really good.
And again, I don't know, because I don't know much about her as an actress, so I don't know if she comes from like a martial arts kind of background, but it looked a lot like it was her. And again, I really like, especially like with her being the amputee, or being an amputee, they actually use that in the action sequences as well. There are actually a couple of scenes where like someone tries to hit her in the and she'll use her leg as a deflection, because obviously
she absolutely kicked the shit out of is it Kazi? She like smacks him and he goes flying from
yeah.
And
And it's just kind of like smart writing in a way, because I imagine someone probably would do that if you because it's just you're not going to feel it, so bang. Use it as a strength. So yeah, a great character. And again, Dan, you were talking about at the beginning about sort of representation. This is also a great example of that within the show.
Yeah, so well done again.
It shows this character who, again, would technically have these weaknesses, but she's so strong and cool and awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's getting her own show. We are getting the Echo spin-off. Yeah.
The mad thing is, I didn't actually know this until about last week when someone told me there was actually a spin-off for it. I was completely oblivious. And then eventually I was just like, wait, what?
When it got announced, like I didn't know much about who she was.
Yeah.
But then I heard she was sort of linked to Daredevil, and now there's the whole thing of, we could get Daredevil characters back. And I'm just like,
please get Daredevil in this.
I think we all need to kind of pay attention to Echo as a show, because I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the Daredevil writers are actually writing Echo.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
And given the fact, obviously, we have Kingpin in this, and we'll get to Kingpin, but obviously we had him in this. So he clearly has links to this version of Echo. And yeah, as you said, he's not dead. Odds are he's going to return in that, and this could be again our link to getting Daredevil later on down the line.
Get another rematch, boys. Another rematch back coming.
Yeah. But like, so yeah, with like the Echo and like Kingpin, there's like a thing in the comics where when she shoots him, it basically makes him blind. I think from like the bullet, which I don't know if I want them to do that. Like, I don't know if I want blind Kingpin unless it's like temporary and then he's like healed. Because yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens in the comics from it. But yeah, I don't know if I really want like fully blind Kingpin. Yeah,
I think I'd be down for that, to be honest. Like, especially if he is going to be like going up against Daredevil again, it'd be quite interesting that they're kind of like both blind.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if, because it depends if because obviously Daredevil is blind, but he does have his heightened senses. If Kingpin's blind, is he just
He's
like
got to learn all of that?
Yeah.
Like,
is he just like slapping his arms around? Like, I don't think it'll be much of a fight towards him.
His arm around like windmills, just be like, I'll hit something eventually.
yeah.
But he's so big and strong, though. He could do that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Echo now. With hopefully, I think she was really good actress, and like for what if you're saying that was her first gig, just bow down.
Really, yeah. As
like,
far as first gigs go, yeah,
that's amazing.
Not a bad run.
Yeah, so yeah, hats off to her. There's a lot of hat references and bowing in this episode. It's great.
There's a lot of themes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then did you see the younger version of her is actually like her cousin or something?
Your cousin, yeah.
Yeah, and they look like so alike as well. Like Marvel just doesn't really miss a beat when it comes to casting. I think it's so like well done.
Yeah.
So I'm really sort of hyped with that, and hopefully we get Daredevil in Echo, see a bit of round 2 of Daredevil versus Kingpin, where I kind of want to see like a proper fight, because obviously, like, we'll get into it later, but you see Kate fight Kingpin, and it was kind of like Matt, when he fought Kingpin, was covered in blood, and Kate gets punched by Kingpin, and she's like not even got like a broken rib or something. It was a bit like he kind of got a little bit MCU'd in terms of Hawkeye's sort of it's like a PG or something, isn't it? Like rating. So it was kind of like they couldn't exactly like crack her rib or something. So
yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about Kingpin then, because obviously this is like such a huge thing going into the show, as we kind of got to throughout the episodes, and especially that scene with like the young Echo where we like we heard the laugh of Kingpin, and we all just
so
went
as soon as it happened, we all knew.
It was like Vincent, mate, we know it's your laugh. Like,
we know that laugh.
I thought possibly it could have been Mustache Man. It could have been him. But
that voice was too
his
deep,
hand and
it was too deep to be Mustache Man. Let's put it this way, man.
Yeah, when I heard that, it was just like, that's Vincent fucking D'Onofrio. We're getting Kingpin. Like, oh my god, hype. And like again, he was just him and Andrew Garfield. They're just the most awful liars in like the world. They're just like,
but at least,
I'd love to be Kingpin again.
Yeah, but at least D'Onofrio was like so gullible that he was still liking tweets about him being on the show, which gave it away immediately that he was going to be on it. Whereas at least Andrew Garfield's got the idea of, if I have a secret Twitter account, no one will find me. I don't even know if he does have a secret Twitter account. We still don't know to this day.
We will never know.
He's not the werewolf though, bro. He's not the werewolf. Like,
I think he deserves an Oscar. He does next year, just for amount of lies that he's told about not being in No Way Home. He deserves an Oscar just for that.
I literally watched a YouTube compilation yesterday of all the times he's lied.
And then there's Tobey Maguire, who just apparently saw a guy in a park and was like, "Yeah, I'm in Spider-Man."
That's Tobey Maguire for you, bro. That's why he's the best Spider-Man.
That video that I put in the chat of like them lot at the premiere where they're under the towels like dancing. It's so good.
That'll be Andrew Garfield still pretending that he's not in the film.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love a thing like if he gets into an interview like next week and like, oh, so you're wearing it? He's like, I'm not in the film. I keep telling you this, I'm not in it. Just keeps it going for the rest of his life.
And you went to the premiere wearing like a mustache and a baseball cap, and someone just went, "Oh, is that Andrew Garfield?" He's like, "No, my name's Dave." No. Yeah, but yeah, carry on like with Kingpin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously having Vincent back, this was just such a delight. Obviously, all three of us massive Daredevil fans, so to see this character back and kind of get the instant, like the hint that this Daredevil world still exists within the MCU. I don't think we actually got, because I mentioned this when we were talking about Spider-Man, but the directors of Hawkeye did say that we were going to kind of get some form of confirmation about whether this was the same version of Kingpin or not. We actually don't.
Yeah, it was a bit
At
weird.
least it was something I missed, like a small detail that I
They
missed.
literally didn't say anything. Like, I thought him having a cane was going to be because of his fight with Daredevil. Like, Daredevil just fucked him up. That he's got like something, like, I don't know, muscle in his leg is like fucked or something. But yeah, we didn't really get anything, so that was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, I've seen there has actually been a lot of mixed opinions on Kingpin in this, and I think that's obviously there's been a lot of Daredevil fans who have kind of been upset due to kind of the way he was handled.
Yeah, MCU'd and stuff.
And I think you have to expect that going in. Like, obviously, we know that this is going to be
show.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I think the only thing that's really missing from this is like the slight edge of brutality and like the blood that you would get from Kingpin typically, because you can't have him smashing someone's head in with a car door in the show.
When he ripped Kate Bishop's mum the door off of her car, I was like, oh my god,
PTSD, it's happening again. It's happening again.
Shit, here we go again.
Like I sort of said with like Daredevil being in the MCU now, that they can have him in different projects in terms of like rating, whether it's going to be like a 12, put him in like a 15 or something. I feel like he can work, and I feel like Kingpin can do the same thing in that he did for me in Hawkeye, even though it wasn't all the sort of blood. It still works. He's just a presence, and I think that's great. And then you can have him in Hawkeye. You could put him in Spider-Man, where like maybe there's not as much blood, but then you could put him, if Daredevil comes back, let's hope it does. You could put him in that, and there's like blood again. Like, he can just work. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think what's great about a character like Kingpin coming in is that you say he's a character who can be used in multiple things. We have him here in Hawkeye. You know, I'm 99.9% sure it'll be an Echo. And then, we can use him in Spider-Man in the future. Obviously, he is like a shared villain between Spider-Man and Daredevil, so it'd be awesome to get him there. And you could just kind of have him like as this kind of crime boss in New York. He's a very easy character to write into a bunch of different stories. So he's just a cool presence to have around. And he really did have a presence in this show. Like, even before we kind of officially knew it was Kingpin, like his presence, you felt him kind of towering over the show. And, you know, that kind of build up to that reveal at the end of episode 5, where we actually saw the picture of him, where I mean, that was the night we all watched No Way Home as well. So I literally was already hyped. And my body couldn't be more excited at that point.
I fully was just like, oh, fuck. Like, as soon as I saw him. Like...
And, you know, and we actually got to see like the classic like white suit that we got in Daredevil. And we also, of course, got the fabulous Hawaiian
beautiful Hawaiian shirt.
Can we say that it's actually Vincent D'Onofrio? It's not like CG or like a fat suit.
I'm so happy that was the case. I'm so happy. Like, I was genuinely so worried, like, because we saw all like, I remember one of those stupid like leaked images where it was supposed to be of like him and like CGI'd up to look fat. And I'm just like, please don't do that. So when I saw him in that photo in episode 5 that they hadn't done, I was so happy. But like, I really liked the way that they kind of transitioned him to more of like a PG rating. I think they did a good job of it, because I expected that going in. So because of that, I don't think I was as disappointed as a lot of people seem to be online. I think a lot of it is overblown. You tend to find that on Twitter. A lot of the time, people just go over the top about criticisms for certain stuff, like way too much. But I like what they did with him here. Again, this is all assuming that they haven't killed him off at the end, which I don't think they will have done. Because again, if he was dead, you would have shown it. So the fact that you haven't,
if he's dead, then I'm gonna like.
If he's dead, then then this season's not going top. It's going all the way at the bottom, bro. Just for that second reason. Like, you don't bring back my boy Vincent D'Onofrio as Willie Fisk
and then just kill him in like 20 minutes. Yeah,
exactly. You don't do that.
Massive waste. And I feel like as well, like when Echo has the gun on him, and then it's such an obvious cut. Like, I feel like you don't edit there if it's not for a specific reason.
All right, hear me out. Echo episode 1 starts with that scene, and as she's about to shoot him, Daredevil literally like jumps in and basically like stops the bullet. Yeah, because Matt never wanted Kingpin dead. He was always like, I just want you to know that I've beaten you, and you can't do anything about it, and you're just gonna rot in prison. And Daredevil isn't gonna let him like die. Yeah.
I mean, I was slightly upset that in this entire episode, we didn't get one reference to Vanessa.
They're saving that, bro. They're saving it for Echo.
I mean, memes aside, I kind of wanted to see him reference, because again, that would have given us a hint to the connection to his Netflix character. And also, it's such an important part. Like, everything he does is for Vanessa. I mean, I have seen some interesting things online. Like, I don't know if this is official or not, or if this is just Vincent D'Onofrio just saying whatever the fuck he wants. But he said that like he's kind of powered down in Hawkeye because he was actually blipped, and during the blip, he lost a lot of power in New York.
Right.
That would make more sense. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I saw the same thing. He got blipped, so he lost like so much of his grip on the sea. Yeah, I saw that. Makes sense.
I kind of want to. It does kind of make sense that. So I really am just excited to see like what they do with Kingpin going forward. Now he's back in the MCU. He's definitely not dead. I mean, he was literally.
He was in like a. What was he in? Like a shop, like the back of a shop or something, wasn't he?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was literally shot at point blank range with an arrow straight through him, and it did nothing. You're telling me a gunshot's going to do anything? Did you see the way he bounced off that car, like just full on ragdoll?
He got hit by a car, and he's still just like
he was fine. There's no way he's dead after being shot at point blank. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just the bullet would bounce straight off him. So yeah.
When Kate like just jumps on him like some sort of spider monkey, and he just kind of just picks her up and just chucks her on the floor. I was just sitting there like, Kate, what are you doing? Have you seen the size of this man? Like, he's going to beat the shit out of you. And when we saw that, it just made me so hyped that hopefully we get him against Spider-Man, because Tom Holland, mate, you're in for a shock. You're going to be beaten to a pulp, my boy. Yeah, he thinks that like Goblin hits hard. Like, wait until just fist smacks him in the face. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we could talk about Vinny D all day as Kingpin, but another character I think we do need to talk about. And this is kind of the last character I have kind of on this list. We have a message. Last character I want to talk about is Florence Pugh as Elena Bullova. Once again.
Love of my life, Florence Pugh.
Yeah, she was great in this. I mean, in my opinion, easily the standout character of Black Widow. And so bringing her over to this was just great. Like I said, the post-credit scene of Black Widow does kind of set this up. Only thing I was confused on with her, obviously, she is kind of given at the end of Black Widow by, I can never remember the full character's name because it's so long, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, she's obviously given sort of the information about Clint there.
Yeah.
But in this, it's said that she's hired by Elena to kill Clint.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, was it just a thing where she was coincidentally hired, but also got that information? So she was like, oh, it's kind of personal anyway.
I didn't. Yeah.
Or did Elena hire, like, I can't even remember her character's name now.
I feel like that might
DeFontaine. It's something DeFontaine.
Yeah.
Allegra DeFontaine. That's it.
Writing.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe like Eleanor hired like her company, and then through that she was hired Elena Bullova. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, great to have her in this. I believe this is something that was kind of a long time coming, because I know there were rumors she was going to be in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That didn't happen. And then obviously she shows up here.
Because Falcon and Winter Soldier came out before Black Widow or something, so they didn't want to like ruin.
Yeah, they had to cut the
showing her as like bad. They didn't want to do it, so I think I saw that as well.
But it's great to have her in here, and particularly like, you know, she does have a vengeance for Clint. I do enjoy in the final episode that actual talk between Clint and Yelena where he talks her down. He did the whistle and stuff, and also, but what I most enjoyed was her interactions with Kate Bishop. It was just fantastic. Like the way she played, she's just because she doesn't care about Kate. Like she doesn't want to kill her. Yeah, I think in a way, like deep down, she actually really likes Kate. Like I think she's like, I see you. Like you're cool. You're kind of hot. I get you. I am getting a bit. I'm getting some gay vibes from them. I'm not gonna lie. But I was just like that scene where they're just sat in the apartment and she's eating the mac and cheese and she's just being like adorable. I'm like, I can't handle this. Like, this is too funny. Like, she was like, it's genuinely hilarious. This, like, I was actually laughing out loud in the scenes between these two, and especially in episode 6 when they're in the elevator and like Kate just slaps Elena.
She's just like,
I just burst out laughing.
What was that? It's so, it's
like,
so
I love
good.
that her reaction was, "What the hell was that?" and not, "I'm gonna kill you now." Like,
and then,
it's great.
Kate, like later on when they're like fighting and she's like saying like, "Oh, you did the body throw," and she's like saying that, and then Kate's just like, "Stop making me like you," and she's like, "Sorry." Need that buddy cop film.
Yeah,
So
I love everything about Elena, and I think I like her even more in this than I did in Black Widow. Just because, again, I think we got to see different sides of her character. Like, we got to see the emotional side, we got to see obviously the badass assassin, but also, like I say, that real funny side with her interactions with Kate. And like I said, I just can't wait to see. I hope that we get to see these characters on screen again at some point. Obviously, Elena does have a future of some description. Kate has a future of some description. I want to see them collide once again because their energy is chaotic, and I need to see more of it.
Yeah, it's so good. Like that was one of the standouts of like the whole series is like their sort of like relationship in this is just so good. Like, honestly, Stan, Kate Bishop, and Elena Belova, like supremacy, like it's so good.
Just stand the two of them. Like, again, I loved her in Black Widow, easily the best part of Black Widow. Here she's one of the best parts of this. Again, just makes me want even more of her in other films and other projects. And like I say, just green light the spin-off show with those two. Just do it.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
do it. Come on. We all want this. If anybody actually doesn't want this, deserves to be deactivated from Twitter.
Yeah,
exactly. It needs to happen.
Can we talk about like how does she braid her hair so amazingly before each fight? Does she have like her own sort of Black Widow assistant who like braids her hair for her or something?
It's actually her hidden superpower. It just braids her hair. I will, to bring this back to our home turf of Arrow. There's a really funny interview with what's his name? The guy who plays Curtis. I can't remember his name.
Echo Kellum.
Echo Kellum, that's it.
Yeah.
People asking, because there was quite a common joke on Arrow about every time he went into the field, how he like braided his hair, because he had like an afro, and then it like was just like slicked and braided back every time.
Yeah.
And his response was that there was an African speedster out there who used to braid his hair every time he went into the field. He was just like, "Yeah, Curtis, I got you, man," and he just like braided it in record time.
So
I feel like Elena has something similar.
Yeah.
And another like small character or characters, I guess, that I will mention just because I really enjoyed them was the tracksuit gang. The bros. I genuinely, again, it's so silly. Like, it's silly humor, but just the way that they do put like bro on the end of every sentence with their Russian accent was really funny. And every time it gave me a little giggle when I saw their little removal truck that said "Trust a Bro." Just gave me a little giggle every time. So yeah, tracksuit gang.
Best mafia gang in the MCU without question.
Literally.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, LARPers. We've already mentioned the LARPers.
That was like a really great scene as well. Like I found that like, like all their characters were really great.
Yeah. And a kind of an interesting subplot that kind of comes into this, and this doesn't really get truly kind of focused on until the last episode, is like the mysterious kind of watch that's brought in episode 1.
I was literally thinking that in my head.
Yeah. And it's kind of revealed at the end that Linda Cardellini, Hawkeye's wife, is actually an ex-SHIELD agent. This does line up with the comics. There is the character of Mockingbird, who she is in the comics, who I believe was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I've never seen.
Yeah, so now people are like, oh, no, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't canon. And it's like, I watched like 2 episodes of that show. Like, I didn't really care for it. Yeah, I wanted to go back to it when they had Ghost Rider. I wanted to go back to it with Ghost Rider, but I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. I have considered watching it. I mean, it's on Disney Plus now, obviously, but I could go back to it. But it is also just like I say, it's such a long show, and I did watch it a little bit initially. It was very much like Gotham for me, where like Gotham, I just couldn't really get into. Same with Agents of Shield, really.
Like Clark Gregg, I love Clark Gregg, but I don't know, I just couldn't see of how an Agents of Shield like TV show is just going to be interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know if this is really going to go anywhere going forward. Like, obviously, it seems like this character is very much retired by this point and is obviously just stay-at-home mum. So I don't know if we're ever going to see anything like this. But it's kind of cool to kind of. I think that kind of reveals how Clint met her. Because they do talk about in Age of Ultron about they kind of make a specific kind of mention that Hawkeye as an agent never really had time for relationships and stuff, and they always kind of talk about like, oh, you need to get out more, and that's when we get the reveal of him like talking on the phone kind of secretly in the corner to his wife, and then obviously we meet his family. I think clearly he didn't really have time to get out there, and he actually met what's his actual character? What's the character's name? Here's the true test.
Who?
Linda Cardellini. What's her character's name?
Quickly Googles it right now.
Give it a quick Googs so we can.
Mama Hawkeye.
Come on, Hoss. Do
Laura Barton.
Laura, that's it.
Yeah.
So clearly he met Laura as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it kind of a cool little reveal, I suppose. Again, I don't think it means anything major, but just a cool little reveal. And kind of the other big thing that was kind of revealed in the final episode, although Disney Plus themselves just spoiled this week after week after week, was the suits. We actually got brand new suits. Well, does Kate get a new suit in the finale? Because I swear it's just the pants that change.
Yeah,
because she wears.
She said make two, but it seemed very much it's just the same.
Because the only thing I noticed was because in episodes 1 to 5, if she's in the suit, she has jeans on, like black jeans. And then in the final episode, they're like more like spandex pants.
Maybe she did them. Yeah,
but the rest of the suit I don't think was any really that different. But we do get Hawkeye getting a brand new suit.
Sorry, again, that was another great reveal when they're in the lift. And she's messing around with the lift, and Elena's like slapping her hand, and then she spins her around, and the suit is revealed. Yeah, and then she just presses the shit out of all the buttons, and she's like, "So childish."
Yeah.
So good.
But yeah, obviously, I think a lot of people obviously been wanting a lot more comic accurate Hawkeye suit for a long time. This is definitely the closest we've had to it. It's still not anywhere near really the comic one, but I mean, we're never going to get that. I'm not being funny.
No.
It's too ridiculous to kind of bring into live action. And I mean, they do actually reference it in the show. Like Kate literally draws it, and Clint's like, absolutely the fuck not.
I feel like he could have the LARPers could have made him that suit. Said, "Oh, we made you this," and he's just like, "You showed him the drawing. You showed him the drawings, didn't you?" And he's just like, "Yeah, no, I'm not wearing it." Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest though, I don't love Hawkeye's suit in this. I don't love it. It looks kind of cheap. I don't think it's the best suit he's had in this, like in the MCU. Like I much prefer his look in Age of Ultron and Civil War. I don't know what it is. It's just like it's cool, but I get the kind of I like it has the logo on it. Like obviously Kate's comments about branding throughout this entire show were very much taken into consideration, but I don't know. It just kind of looks like just like a t-shirt and jeans, really. Which I guess does kind of obviously this is very much based on Matt Fraction's My Life as a Weapon, and it is very actually quite like that, really. That is kind of what he wears in that comic, but again, I think that's not actually really what they were going for with this. I think they were trying to go for the most comic accurate suit they've done, and to me, it kind of just fell a little not flat, but I was just like, in my opinion, he's had better suits than this. But that's just my thoughts. I don't know. How you guys
I wasn't too crazy on it either. Same as you. I did prefer his look in Age of Ultron. That for me is still probably my favorite. In terms of the suits we've got from I admire them going for it. Trying to go for something different and a bit more comic accurate. But I think in the end, it was a decent-ish suit, but I think it was a little bit underwhelming in that department. I think there definitely ways they could have made it a lot better. Either that or just, if just keep him in the same suit that he had in Endgame. Because I mean, for this one, it was just like it changed, and I was just like, it's okay, but it's not exactly the most memorable like costume that I've seen. Like, especially in terms of like upgrade wise, didn't really feel like it to me.
It felt to me very like, and it's weird to say this because Disney Plus and the quality of their shows have been so high, and all the other suits, like when you look at like, you know, Sam Wilson, Captain America, or Wanda's suit you get at the end of WandaVision, this felt very TV. This suit, which again, it's quite a step down, I think, from like I say a lot of the other suits we got in the show in these other Disney Plus shows. Like, I mean, Sam Wilson's Captain America suit is incredible. Wanda's suit that she gets at the end of WandaVision is amazing.
And the one that we've seen in Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, so this kind of felt like, and again, I don't know, I can't quite tell what they were going for with it, like, because obviously Clint isn't a very kind of bombastic guy. He very much explicitly says many times in the show he doesn't, he's an agent. He doesn't want to like expose himself in that way, and kind of being an Avenger wasn't really his thing. So he doesn't really want a flashy costume. But again, I personally feel like that's what they were trying to go for with this. So it just doesn't really work in my opinion. So yeah, I think a lot of people do like the suit, and that's fine. You're wrong, but it's fine. No joke. Like I said, I get why people like the suit. It's just for me personally, I thought it was a bit weak as far as suits go in the MCU. It's on the weaker side.
Yeah.
And do we want to sort of end this by talking about and breaking down the really extensive, incredible post-credit scene we got at the end of the show?
That was the most disappointing post-credit scene I have ever seen in my lifetime.
Why didn't they just put it?
The worst bit is that, like, have you seen the news about the apparent rumored one that they originally had?
Yeah.
What was it?
Bro, why? If that is the case,
what was it
going to
be?
I'm more pissed. It was related. I think I was read it somewhere. It was related to, I think Clint goes to Kingpin, and then basically like warns him about trying to mess around with Kate, from what I remember.
What it was is Clint sends Kingpin the Ronin sword.
Yeah.
And it has a note that says like, stay away from Kate and her family and my family, basically. To kind of close off the arc with Ronin and Kingpin.
I'll just give Kingpin a sword. Yeah, well done, Clint, you idiot.
I mean, I was just really shocked. I was shocked with the post-credit scene with this because I was expecting, given the fact we are getting the Echo show, I was expecting something to do with that. Like, I thought we were going to get something to do with Echo, but no, we get a full performance from Rogers the musical. And I get that there are some people who wanted this, from episode 1. People were like, oh, we want to see the whole, like on, because Disney Plus did the recording of Hamilton, and they're like, oh, we want to see the full version of this. I personally didn't care, and when it came to this as the post-credit scene was like a performance, I was just like, are you joking? Really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean to say, oh, this sucks. It's just like, it's not, but I like, as for a post-credit scene, it should be getting me like kind of more hyped for like what's coming in the future. And this was just like, I mean, I kind of enjoyed like the sort of happy holidays from Marvel Studios thing they put at the beginning, but it was like a little gift. But like I said, I was kind of expecting, I mean, maybe it's just me wanting more Daredevil stuff, but I was expecting like something with Kingpin or something with Echo that was going to lead into that series.
In the crowds to the song, he's just like singing.
I was actually expecting a cameo. I thought someone was going to be in that crowd because they kept cutting the shot for the crowd. Yeah, and I thought, is like Chris Evans just going to be sat in there somewhere or something like that?
It could have been like Clint with like his family, or with like Kate watching it, and Kate's just like, see, I knew you loved it, or something. Yeah. But yeah, it was just the performance. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it was good.
I didn't care for it. And like I say, it was given the fact that I love the show so much, and it was such a high the entire time, to end with that, I was a bit like,
yeah.
But I mean, I'm not going to let it take away from my love for the show, because at the end of the day, it's just a post-credit scene. It's not really a part of the main thing. It was just something that I would have rather have not had that and sort of gone with something a little bit more interesting. But I know a lot of people were satisfied with it, because I know a lot of people did want that. So it's cool for those, just not for me.
Yeah.
So that's all my notes that I've gone through. Do you guys have anything you want to say or add?
The action again. I was just saying, just because we haven't mentioned it, the action really
Oh,
good.
yeah, I actually skipped.
Like I say, I had my issues with the first 2 episodes in terms of the editing for some of the action, but I think, like I say, from episode 3 onwards, I didn't have that issue at all. I really enjoyed all the action, like all the stuff, like I said, they do with the archery, but not just that, the hand-to-hand fight scenes as well. As Shotgun Dan mentioned, like the stuff with Echo and kind of how she uses her, what you would think would be a liability with her, obviously being like an amputee, and how she uses her leg in a way to give her an advantage. All that kind of stuff and those things that they play with, I thought that was really, really cool. Just seeing all the different fighting styles of the characters, and again, it was just really, really cool to see. Just really, really, really good action. Yeah, like I say, other than the first 2 episodes, which I have a few gripes with, rest of it I really liked.
Yeah, the action, I really loved, particularly because episode 3, where you have the fight scene with Clint and Kate inside. I think it's inside. Is it the apartment or is it the bit where they're being
the warehouse?
Yeah, where they're being held prisoner. That was where I sat back in my chair and I was like, I am in, because it was literally it was reminding me of Arrow. Like the way that he was using the bow and arrow, that we get these archery based fight scenes, and you have Clint doing stuff like just jumping around, shooting the arrows while he's jumping. You have like slow-mo stuff. He's aiming behind him without looking. I was like, oh my God. So all that was great. And the way that kind of goes into the run on fight scene on the bridge, where we get obviously the giant him arrow.
That arrow.
And you have like Clint and Kate kind of holding the line where they're like up on the car and stuff. And I loved it so much. I was like, this is just exactly what I wanted action-wise from this. Just absolutely nailed it. So yeah, I did actually write down the action, but I skipped over it because for some reason I wrote it in the middle of all the characters. But yeah, I literally wrote action sequences / Arrow vibes is what I put.
Kate did a weird move where she like stood on a bow in like episode 6. She like stands on the bow and then punches someone or something. I think she did. Yeah. She did some weird move. And then Clint basically gives her the bar. Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
I was probably too busy fanboying over Kingpin at that point, so that's probably why I don't. If it did happen, I don't remember it.
Yeah. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed with the Kingpin bit that we didn't have Hawkeye fighting him. It was like just Kate, but oh well.
I think that makes more sense though with the fact that obviously he was integral with her mum. So I think because of the family connection, it probably made more sense for the two of them to go together.
True, but yeah, I guess like Hawkeye has like a lot of faith then in like putting this kid essentially up against Kingpin. Like, yeah.
It's all right. He got beaten by a blind guy. He got beaten by a blind guy. He probably heard about that. It's like, nah, I'll send Kate to do it.
He'll be fine. She's got 2 eyes, so she's already at an advantage. But yeah, anything else you want to add at all before we wrap
you mentioned the comics, the Fraction comic. I've actually got that, and I got another one which is a Kate Bishop comic, which I was planning to read before the show, and it just sat on my shelf. And but now I'm going to try to read that. Yeah, have you read the Fraction one then?
I've actually not. No.
No, fair enough. Yeah,
I do want to though.
Really, really good.
Because I'll be like, say, as someone who's really grown to love Hawkeye over the years, I would like to read that, especially because it is kind of like his #1 comic now at this point. I think it's such a cool idea, and from what I've heard about it, and because I do know a fair amount about it, like you can see a lot of the elements of it have bled over into the show. Even like the title sequence is completely taken from that.
So cool. I love that title sequence.
Yeah, I do love how at the end of episode 5 with Kingpin. Yeah,
that was really good. Awesome. I didn't notice that because when the credits sort of rolled, I was then like, okay, was like going back to do work, so I didn't really notice that. And then on Twitter I saw it, and I was like, that's amazing. I love that. Yeah,
it's just those little attentions to detail.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I said, I think you can tell from all of us that we love the show, and I think I've very much given the vibe that I adore it, because I genuinely don't have really any complaints. Like I say, besides that slightly underwhelming post-credit scene, it's I think this show is amazing. I adore it. It's my favorite Disney Plus show so far. Like I said, second favorite MCU project so far. I just
Says a lot.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I was kind of speechless by the end of it. Like, just this show felt so personal, and I loved it so much. And again, I can't wait to see kind of where the elements of this kind of go forward in the MCU, in whichever direction that is, because it's all perfect. It was just literally all the right pieces together for me, came together in all the right ways, and I was left incredibly satisfied.
Yeah, and it was only 6 episodes, and we obviously got 2 like straight away.
Yeah.
It was like, it just felt like it ended so quickly, and it's just like it was here. I loved it, and then it was just like gone so quick. Oh yeah, I wish we'd had like a bit more. I saw a funny tweet about, so obviously the end of No Way Home when he swings out of his window and you see that ice rink with that tree.
Yeah,
that everyone was just like Spider-Man just vibing on the window, like they're just like looking down and seeing Clint, and he's like, Clint's got it. Like he's now like Spider-Man's just like, it's just a couple of guys in tracksuits. I've now dealt with people from other multiverses, and stuff. Like that's like low-level shit for me now. Like
I did see a lot of people theorizing that like Spider-Man was going to show up in this, just because it was like people were like, because it obviously No Way Home seemingly takes place around the same time. I mean, I never bought into that. I was like, there's no way Spider-Man's in this.
And it kind of, I thought because 2 episodes came out early, they were trying to line it up with Spider-Man. And I think maybe they were in terms of like hype in just trying to get Hawkeye like a bit of like fan attention. But I don't think it really needed it, to be honest, because well, for me, like I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hoss, overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts, as I said earlier, I think this is probably my favorite of the Disney Plus Marvel shows that we've got so far. Before this, I'd probably say it was Falcon Winter Soldier, but I think this nudges it. Just because overall, I think it was a bit more consistent. Like I say, I pretty much enjoyed everything about it. The only few issues I had was the way they edited the fight scenes in the first 2 episodes. The post-credit scene was a bit naff, and the costume upgrade for Clint was okay, but not something that I could have honestly done without, to be perfectly honest, given how much of a non-improvement it was. But other than that, I think the show was really great. I really enjoyed it. The last 4 episodes were brilliant. And yeah, I think out of all the ones, this is the one. I will say as well, I think this by far had the best finale. Out of all the Marvel Disney Plus shows, by far this had the best finale. Because it kind of has, because all the other ones have a bit of an issue where it's not, the finales haven't always been terrible, but you kind of feel like it's not quite as good as what it could have been. I think this one pretty much delivered on most things. So maybe that is why.
Loki had quite a big one in terms of like the whole MCU setting like that up. Yeah. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't mind the Loki one, but the problem was that one, the whole final episode, it did basically just feel like a massive setup for a season 2. Whereas I feel like with this one, it kind of actually like resolved all the plot points that they built up throughout the season, and then left a few dangling bits for season 2, but I didn't feel like that was the whole episode. That was kind of my main holdback with Loki. I think this with Hawkeye did it a bit. It was more to my taste. It was kind of more what I wanted from this finale. Would you say it was better than Iron Fist in terms of Marvel shows?
It's not an A plus. It's not an A plus like Iron Fist.
In the words of Declan McKinney, it is not an A plus like Iron Fist season 1, which he can try and run away from that video all he wants.
I'm not running away from it. I stand by it.
All right, it's already. It's the opening bit of the diss track, Hoss, so you definitely can't run away from it.
I honestly, I think about Iron Fist on a regular basis. Like,
he thinks about the ending of season 2 all the time. He thinks about what could have been. He could have had a whole season of Danny Rand and Ward on bar trips around Asia.
It was going to be so good.
Yeah.
Well, Netflix just don't know what they're doing. Like, they've just cancelled Cowboy Bebop as well. What are you doing?
It's like, did you see the thing?
Nah, I didn't enjoy Cowboy Bebop. I didn't enjoy it.
To be fair, I have no connection to the anime whatsoever. I just enjoyed it.
It's one of the few animes I've watched, and I watched the live action one. No.
I mean, it's got sexy John Cho in it. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Did you see the thing where it was like, if we want the pandemic to stop, we should just let Netflix like control the government because it doesn't get past 3 seasons like any show. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that just about wraps it up then. Hawkeye, let us know your thoughts on the show in the comment section down below. Where do you rank it among the other Marvel Disney Plus shows? Did you love it, or was it not one of your favorites? Because it seems to be a little bit mixed.
But
Hawkeye
you know how we feel because we're all bowing down to it. So anybody who comes here saying that it's bad, we appreciate different opinions. But this show is awesome.
The Snyder Cut is better than Hawkeye. It's a show. It's not a film. It's completely different.
At least we didn't do a Benjamin and rank the Snyder Cut above No Way Home. Have you seen that? I saw that today. I saw it as I was walking into the shop, and I'm just like, Benjamin, what are you doing?
But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's been a little bit mixed, Hawkeye, in terms of like people's reception and where they rank it. Like it's either really high or it's one on the lower end. But yeah, I mean, if you have it on the lower end, you're wrong. It's fine, but you're wrong. It's okay.
Ding dong,
get you help.
Opinion is wrong.
Literally. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we very much appreciate it. Stay tuned for more streams and videos coming soon, hopefully. Unlike last week, I don't really have an immediate thing that we can jump into for the next stream. Maybe here we go. Let me just get on the top.
Podcast. Who said that? Walking Dead. What's happened to our Walking Dead? We've
already said we can't do On Thy Podcast, because if we do that, we'll do the Arrow rewatch. If we do the Arrow rewatch, Host will get exposed for his awful Arrow takes. So we know for a fact that can't happen. We won't allow it to happen.
Tell you what though, here's an idea for the next one on this channel. Book of Boba Fett starts very, very soon.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I'm like really hyped for it because it just doesn't have Grogu in it. Like...
Oh well, there I go for trying.
Sorry, man.
You're the one who always wants to do podcasts. I'm the one who's coming up with ideas. But yeah, like I say, stay tuned for much more soon. Hopefully it will be sooner rather than later. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you want to see more like this, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. All links to all of our social medias are in the comment section as per usual, or in the description, I should say. And we hope to see you guys again next time, whenever that may be.